Hello everyone, good morning and good afternoon whenever you're watching this video. Today we're gonna watch a Grace game on EU West. This is a High Master or Grandmaster game and I haven't done a VoD review in a while and I thought it would be the perfect idea. It would be the perfect game to VoD review and start with Graves because as you know, he's my favorite character, and many of you in my community also main Graves. So I thought I might as well start the 2025 with the Graves WOD review. I plan to do way more WOD reviews in this season than in the past seasons. So leave it down in the comments. Who is your favorite champion and who you are struggling with? On which champion would you like to see a WOD review? But now let's start with the game. The first minute of the game is super important. I talked about this in many of my videos that this ward at Raptors is super important. You could have placed this ward a little bit deeper. I mean, this Grace could have placed this ward a little bit deeper just for a better vision. But anyway, this ward here is still has to be enough to spot whenever Diana is on the Raptors. But level 1 in your games, you definitely want to ward enemy raptors. It gives a lot of value, not just for you, but for your team as well. And see what's going on. On the bot lane, Gario seems like he's AFK a little bit. They're gonna trade 1-for-1. Unfortunately for Corki, Nautilus got the kill. But it's fine. Seraphine traded one back. We have a Seraphine AD carry. On top lane, Darius against Renekton. Both of them have teleport, even though it's a melee matchup and it can be a volatile matchup because there are two melees. They're gonna look to trade a lot, but both of them have teleport. And they also have a lot of sustain. They both of them started with Doran Shield. So they're gonna have a lot of sustain, despite trading a lot. And we don't have that much setup. So because of that, we have to path towards bot lane. Like I always say, 80%, 90% of the time, you will path towards your bot lane. We have a Galio, that's a pretty good setup. And we have a Nautilus, they're gonna look to fight. Like, as you can see, they are already fighting, already trading, despite having two weak carries like Seraphine and Corki. At least early on, they are super weak. So we are patting towards bot lane because of that. They are fighting so far. Let's stop the video. So Grace started on top side, right? Because bot lane is the most volatile lane. We have gank setup as well. So it's a perfect lane to pat towards. And if we look at this from Diana's perspective, we can agree on the same thing. We have a Nautilus, really good gank setup. Renekton is not that great, but on top of that, because of the reasons what I mentioned earlier, you don't really have to gank top. You could, but top lane won't be your win condition. Neither Darius, neither Renekton. Despite Darius being a super good jungler right now, but he is on top lane, so it's slightly different. So Grace, after his red buff, he even smited his red buff and he goes bot lane. And this is a habit you should build up, you should have in your games as well, that you are looking at your minimap. And whenever there's a fight, it's totally fine to skip camps, even on farming junglers like Graves. Like if there's a fight breaking out, then and you feel like you can get there in time, just feel free to skip your camp and move to the fight. Like sure, this fight will be over by the time Graves gets here, but Corki will stay. Like even though bot laners traded support for support, Corki has to push this wave in. Like he doesn't want this wave to stay in this position. So despite the fight being over, Corki will stay and will look to push this wave because Seraphine has no HP and because of that, she is not a threat. So instead of going to our crows, what we can do is go bot and clean this fight up. Diana could have done the same if she knew if she's going to pet. Then she could have come bot and look to clean up this fight as well and look to crush this wave as well. And because of that, because of her presence, she would have been able to save Corki. But now Diana, I assume she's gonna stay on her camp, but let's see. And Graves gets a kill while Diana is just ended up full clearing. And these things matter a lot in your games. Like these things will be a difference maker in your games. Because right now, this bot lane is already doomed. Seraphine will be able to freeze this if she really wants to. We just pretty much saved Seraphine here because of this, right? So right now, we did our job. This wave will freeze because of the cannon. And we can go back to our Krugs and see how much gold we have. We definitely have over 1000 gold right now. Yeah, almost 1000 gold. So this wave is perfect for Seraphine. And now, after our Krugs, normally, I always say this, in general, you should look to recall after you have 1000 gold. But there is a fight happening on mid lane. We have a Galio against Nautilus, both supposed to look to roam mid. And there is a Diana. But if you look at the matchups, Galio and Nautilus pretty much offer the same amount of CC. They are equally strong for us, right? Pretty much. And if you look at the mid lane matchup, we have Irelia against Syndra. Irelia is definitely stronger than Syndra at this stage. On top of that, she has her stacks as well. So she's ready to fight. And we are Graves. We are stronger than Diana at this stage. Diana is pretty weak early on. So Nautilus just died. And because Nautilus just died, even though this fight is already over, like the previous fight on bot lane, now, because our support is here, we have prio for the top scuttle. So we definitely don't want to give the top scuttle to Diana. And because of this, we want to walk towards top and get the top scuttle. If you look at the CS, Diana has 29 CS. So she got the minion on mid and she got the scuttle. Because of that, she has 29 CS. Because after the scuttle, she would have 28, but she got the CS on mid, so she has 29. The reason why we are not recalling after the Krugs is because a fight was happening on mid lane. A fight in which we can be the difference maker if it lasts long enough. Because, like I said, Irelia is stronger than Syndra at this stage. Galio and Nautilus pretty much offer the same value in this fight. And we are stronger than Diana as well. On top of that, Diana is not that strong early and she had the blue buff while we had the red buff. So Graves definitely has a really good chance of winning a skirmish when this breaks out. This is when you are looking to fight with your stronger lanes. You are looking to fight with lanes who are strong, right? And Irelia is definitely strong. Syndra could be strong, or can be strong, but not at this stage. Later on, sure, she is super strong. So we're gonna get the scuttle, and we can already see the pings happening. Grace is on his way to top. If there is a fight happening, then you want to look to kill top lane as well. Like I said, top lane is not a priority, but so far, we gank bot lane, we look to gank mid, and we now look to gank top lane as well. We are a farming jungler, but we are making plays on the map, and that's what you want to do in your games as well. Like I said, top lane could be a volatile matchup, and if someone is overextending, then you can look to punish, but you don't need to have the intention of betting towards top lane because it's volatile. Just because it's volatile. Because you have to consider your win condition as well, and in this game, it's definitely your bot lane. So, right now, we have over 1500 gold. So, we are looking to recall. And this is a very common mistake I see whenever I'm coaching. Many of you would look to go back into their jungle just because they saw that, okay, my topside camps just respawned. So why I shouldn't go there and get the camp? And the reason is simple. It takes so long to go there from top lane. It's pretty much the same time if you just put a recall, spend your gold, and get here. It's almost the same time. And on top of that, tier 2 camps are harder to take, and we fought a lot, so we want to spend our gold and look to be ready for skirmishes. Right now, we are much stronger on the map. We spend our gold on Dirk, extra longsword as well. So now, whenever we are getting our Gromp, we clear the camp way faster, and if there is a fight breaking out in the meantime, we can look for that as well. But because we gank top lane, we are actually down tempo compared to Diana right now. Diana spent her gold as well, but as you can see, she is on her Raptors. We are on our Wolves, so she is pretty much one camp ahead of us. So she has the first move if she decides to make a play. We either have to give up our camp to match her play, or we can continue with our jungle clear, but she has a small advantage on us. That's what it means to be down tempo in this scenario from Gray's perspective, that he is behind in time slightly because Diana is already finishing her wolves while we are only on our Raptors, or like gonna be on our Raptors in a second. So now if let's say there would be a fight on mid, we have to give this camp, or like have to leave it and counter gank Diana if something is happening. Basically, this is what it means. I hope it was clear enough that what I meant. So mid wave is in a really bad position for the red side, and Nautilus just entered this. So next, we were in position to counter gank mid. So like, again, imagine if you would have went to your Gromp instead of recalling. He would have been at your Raptors with almost 2,000 gold. Let's see how much gold he has. Yeah, over 2,000 gold. He would be on your Raptors while Diana already spent her gold. And this fight would have happened no matter what, even if you don't recall. So that's why you definitely want to recall. Like in this game, if the top play wasn't available, you recall after your Scuttle Crab, spend your gold and go to your Gromp. If the mid play didn't happen, after your Krugs, you're recalling and you go top. So these are the opportunities and these are the differences you have to notice and have to adapt to these things in your games. Because just because your coach, I say it, someone else says it, basically anyone who is in high elo says that, okay, you should look to recall whenever you have around 1000 gold. What they mean is that in general, if there is nothing on the map and you have 1000 gold, your goal should be to recall, spend your gold for your second sequence, just to be stronger. Anyway, next point. There was a fight on mid, Nautilus died, and we have to make a decision. If you move into the bot river, Diana would look to get void grabs. If we move into the top river with our support, Diana looks to get Drake. And this is what's going to happen. Unfortunately, we can't be at the same objective at the same time, so we have to trade, at least this time. Renekton is almost dead, probably he will end up dying. But our support has the intention of moving to void grabs. So when you are in this scenario that you can decide if you want to take void grabs or you want to take dragon, then I would say that you want to look to get void grabs, because this camp is more valuable whenever you are snowballing than getting the dragon. Sure, Drake is nice, but unless you get to Soul Point, unless you get Soul, Dragon is not as valuable as Void Grubs. And in this game, your team is snowballing. Your Wincon, which is Seraphine on bot lane, is pretty strong. You're pretty strong. Your top laner is winning. Your mid laner is winning as well. So pretty much all three lanes are winning. So you have no reason to get Drake and play a really slow game. Why would you slow down the game? Why would you look to play a 30-minute long game whenever you are this strong? So we're gonna get the Void Grabs. Diana will get the Drake, which is fine. I like this invade, but I only like this invade because Galio is here with us. We are in a good position to actually get this camp. Because if you look at top, Renekton is here. Sure, Syndra is under her tower, and Irelia could make the first move, but without Galio, if Renekton comes, and Diana comes as well, then we are in a really bad position. But right now, we are pretty much giving up our AP carry, because if we go for this invade, then, and Galio is with us, we are pretty much saying, okay, enemy bot lane, you can dive our Seraphine, we don't care. Meanwhile, we look for a top gank as well, which I would say is totally fine. Right now, Grace is recalling. Once again, just look to recall if you, unless you need like 100, 200 gold to get your full item, then sure, go back into your jungle and get your camps instead. If not, then it's totally fine. Honestly, I would have checked the river for this cutter crab instead of going into that top bush. Like after this play was over and we couldn't kill Renekton, I would just check the scuttle, get the scuttle, and then look to recall even for my items. Right now, you could be wondering, why is Graves going to his red buff instead of going to his top side when his wall top side jungle is up? And this is again the difference between playing a slow game or playing a fast game and trying to close the game out as soon as you can. These small differences add up, and this is the difference between playing a 30-minute game, which can go either way despite you having a big early lead, or playing a 20-minute game, which you will snowball super hard and can close out the game and end up winning it instead of making it coin flip when your laners throw, because they always look, I mean, they are not looking to throw, but it might happen that they will throw the game simply because it's solo queue and anything can happen. They misplay, they miscalculate something, so they're gonna look to 1v2 because they get cocky and they end up giving away 1000 gold bounty. So Galio is again making a play on the map, and whenever this happens and you are the stronger jungler, like in this case, you have the better items as well, you want to make a play with your support. Like if we were just clearing our top side, as you can see, Galio would be ignoring us no matter what, and he would make these plays. But if we go from base to our red, get our red, and get into position to actually make plays with our support, we can snowball the game even further. Because Galio is fighting. Galio does not care about us. He wants to fight. Irelia is super strong. He wants to fight with Irelia. Even Seraphine joins us. So Diana, if she is contesting, like in this case, if you are Diana and this happens to you, you want to give this up. Look to get something on the other side of the map, because this is the worst thing you can do, losing your bot side quadrant or could be top side quadrant, and then on top of that you also die. Let's see if Diana ends up dying. Like, disengage is pointless. You have zero reason to go in. You are a Diana. You are weak early on. Why would you ever go in and look to fight? You are not a champion who can win a fight 1v2 even if no truth is around, it's not a fight you can win alone, or like win a 2v2 simply because you are not strong enough. And now, after we stole Diana's blue quadrant, well, of course, except her wolf, now we can recall and defend our top side, because Diana's only chance now is to look to trade back something, which she should have done in the first place. But now, because we are here, I hope that she expects that, okay, Grace is going to defend his top side, so there's no chance for her to actually invade us. And now she's stuck with her top side camps instead of looking to trade. But on top of that, if I was Graves here, I would have looked to get Scuttle first and then fall back into my jungle, because this is not the first Scuttle anymore. And after the first Scuttle, this camp is decent. So why are we looking to give this up to Diana? She would be stuck with her drugs for a while now. So there is really no reason for us to give this Scuttle up. And on top of that, we can secure vision in case if there's something happening on bot lane and we stay bot for longer than we want and the void grabs spawn, then we can see if she decides to start it. But right now, we won't be able to. But there's nothing going on bot lane. Right now, Corki died, Seraphine is safe alone, so we can walk all the way back top and just look to get the Scuttle curb. Our team is in position to fight, and these are the fights or like the scenarios which you want to look for, because I see too many of you forcing fights and doing the same play what Diana does. Like, you are frustrated, I get it, enemy jungle is playing, enemy jungle can do whatever they want, and you are not allowed to do whatever you want, and those games happen more often than not, unfortunately. Same thing like before, when Diana had to give up her bot side. Same thing for the void grabs. You are weaker, your mid laner is being destroyed, you are being destroyed, your top laner is somewhat being destroyed, and Grace has a lead on you. This could be anyone. This could be a Rammus even. It doesn't matter. If you are behind, you are not allowed to contest objectives especially when your laners are behind as well. Your only option is to trade. So in this example, just get your raptors, which she did eventually, get your wolves, and look to get the next dragon. Look to make a play on the opposite side of the map where you could create an advantage. Because if you go in 1v3 and just die and then blame your team for dying, then you're just gonna end up losing so many games. That's not how you climb. Renekton also has to go away because Galio just showed there. Galio showed up, Renekton survives, Syndra makes a good play, helping out Renekton, preventing a potential dive. But if they stay, they will end up dying as well. Like, they are not allowed to walk in. Like, after the play of Syndra tipping top and defending top and preventing Renekton from dying, after that as Renekton you were supposed to recall. But that's another topic for top laners and for laners in general. Right now, again, we have nothing to do in our top side. We have a lot of gold, so we want to spend that. And now, with the second dragon spawning, we can actually look to contest this, and because we are stronger than Diana, now we are actually allowed to take this Drake and stop Diana from stacking Drake. So as you can see, despite we gave up one Drake early on, Diana is not able to stack Drakes, and she's not able to do anything here. We arrive to clean up the boss fight. They do Galio, but it's fine, our support died. It's totally fine. As long as we are not dying and we are not giving away shutdowns, we are good. Once again, Diana cannot trade. Or I mean, cannot contest this objective. And finally, she made a great decision of not contesting this. because she is just simply not in position. Unfortunately, it's a really frustrating game for Diana, but she could have played this way better, and she could have adapted, she could have traded, like how she traded the first dragon, but instead she decided to go in many times, which led to several deaths and led to frustration from the whole team. Because when all your lanes are losing, it's not guaranteed that you can come back. But if you make plays like this Diana, then that just pretty much guarantees that you have zero chance of winning. But I mean, sure, there's always a chance that the enemy team looks to throw or like throw the game, but most of the time you're gonna lose if you have 3 losing lanes and you fall behind really hard because you're not trading, you are not getting side lane waves, etc. Like in order to carry games or like come back whenever you are behind or like your team is behind is by adapting and getting the resources you are allowed to get instead of contesting the resources you are not allowed to get. This could be objective as well. So right now a fight broke out on bot lane. They killed Irelia, and this is what I was talking about. That okay, despite Irelia, she was 4-0 earlier. Now she's in 7-3, right? She's pretty much inting and throwing her lead. So this is what we want to avoid, and only fight whenever we are stronger. We spend our gold, and we have man advantage, preferably as well. Or at least we have equal numbers compared to the enemy team. And now, look, we had a good fight, and now we are even able to get the resources. I would even stay for plate, honestly. If I was Graves here, I would definitely stay for that plate. Like, I much rather get the plate and get the next wave than getting the enemy blue buff. Which is not wrong to get the enemy blue buff, but look, we would have been able to get 2 waves and even get first tower solo. So why are we not getting it? I mean, look, he gonna eventually get the tower, but why would you deny the plates as well from yourself, right? So just get the plate, and simple. Get the plate, get the minion wave. It's more valuable than 1 blue buff. And then obviously look to recall, because your top side will be spawning. And the next objective, we want to play for the next objective, which will be the Drift Herald. After spending our gold, we can look to clear our camps. And the reason why we're gonna look to clear our camps is because there's nothing going on the map right now. Sure, your team is willing to fight and they will look for a potential fight, and you have to keep an eye on that. But there's nothing going on right now. So we can at least get 1 or 2 camps, get our blue, get our walls. And if there is still nothing going on, then get your grump as well. But if you have to move into the enemy jungle because your team is fighting, then skip your camps and just move with your team. Like when your team is this deep, you always want to ping them back or be in position if you are stronger to actually help them out and clean the fight up with them. And now look, again, we had a great fight, and after the fight we are able to reward ourselves with the next objective. Herald just spawned. We had a great fight before the Herald, and now we look to reward ourselves with Herald as well. And like, this is super important whenever you're playing League, that after you had a good fight, you want to reward yourself with camps. You want to recall, you want to reward yourself with camps. It depends on your gold, obviously as well. Let's see how much gold we have. We have 1600 gold. Irelia is pushing, so they're gonna collapse on Irelia most likely, but we can even say that in the replay that they're gonna look to collapse on her. So in this case, as Graves, you definitely want to ping your laner back. Like right now, you already had really great fight. Amazing. You got the objective as well. Now it's time to fall back, spend your gold, and avoid trolling. Because at this point, despite you having an advantage, if you are not spending your gold and you are staying too much on the map for too long, then you are risking a throw. And they are killing Irelia. Sure, she is dead. We don't care about that. So right now, I would say it's fine to look for this play simply because we see most of the enemy laners on top lane. But if this wasn't the case, then I would never go for this invade. I would never go for the enemy raptors here. Despite sure, Diana is not able to take me down in the 1v1. I'm just stronger than her. I have better items. I'm basically stronger in every possible way. But she ends up dying. So right now, okay, she died. And we punish the enemy team further. We even get the tower. Now, let's just recall. Because I don't think that Grace needs this wolf camp really. We could look to just recall and not stay on the map, because now we are staying on the map with over 2,000 gold. Sure, we have a lot of gold spent already on items, but if we are having a smaller lead on the enemy team, these are the crucial scenarios whenever this happens, that you might end up throwing just because your lead is not as big as you think, and you are giving away shutdowns to the enemy team, and you end up dying. So this is like not the consistent play you can do every game. The consistent play would have been to look to recall, especially after the mid tower, and then just spend your gold, get into your own jungle, get the next objective, and then look to push with your team when everyone is on the map and everyone spend their gold. And when that's happened, you can start pushing the map further in a way safer way and actually close out the game without dying. I'm not sure if this Graves ended up dying this game or not. I honestly forgot that whenever I picked this VoD. He might die, I'm not sure. But I saw that his team was actually doing well and he had a good game as well. Looking at his stats, looking at his KP, it wasn't just like, okay, his whole team did really great and he just ended up being carried or anything like that. So if you are wondering, like I was talking about this in the early game as well, that you want to push the map further, but you have to be smart about that. And like I said, after we spend our gold, we will look to push the map further and be with our team. So at this stage, it's very common that people are struggling that, okay, should I farm or should I be with my team? And which part is good for me that I should be there for them and fight with them? And in these scenarios, I shouldn't be with them and I should be farming my own jungle camps. But at this stage in the game, after the 15-minute mark, if your team is pushing forward and they are deep in the enemy territory, then you want to be close to them. Like, for example, Grace could be farming his Gromp and his Wolf as well. Meanwhile, his team would be pushing the enemy tier 2. Let's imagine that enemy tier 2 is up as well. In this scenario, you don't want to be on your own jungle camp. You want to be on the enemy jungle camp, because you want to put yourself in a position where you are still farming, but you are still there for your team in case they are pushing and in case there's a fight breaking out. So in this scenario, after Grace killed the enemy support and they get the tower, now he can Herald and push the map forward. But if he had no Herald or if they had no minion waves, And after they got the tier 2 tower, he could have just go to enemy red if it was up, go to enemy raptors, get the enemy tier 2 on the mid lane if it was up, and stuff like that. And slowly but surely pushing the map forward. But obviously, enemy team is dying one by one. And they can just push with the Herald and get the ball top lane and just end the game. Because this is a common question as well, that when should you place the Herald? And this will be the last topic I want to talk about in this video. I'm pretty sure this will be a long video already, because I have touched on a lot of topics, but I want to make this as educational as possible for you guys to make sure you learn a lot from these VoD reviews, and you learn the fundamentals of the game, and you learn how to carry more consistently in your games. So after 16 minutes, we got the Herald. And where do we want to put the Herald and when? So basically, because right now, like I said, we couldn't spend our gold because we have a lot of gold. We could have looked to actually recall, spend our gold, like I said, and then Herald somewhere based on the map state. Herald top perhaps, Herald mid, but we definitely don't want to Herald right now before we recall and spend our gold. After the next time we get on the map, then that would be in general a good time to look to Herald. And in this case, you might ask, okay, but why am I not heralding mid? And simply put, they gonna be able to take this tower super quick, so there's no reason to put the herald down and make another fight happen here. The thing is, whenever you are putting the herald down, you are saying to the enemy team that, okay, I'm gonna push your base, come at me and fight me. And you only want to do that when you are super strong. Sure, in this case, Grace is really strong, but he haven't spent his gold. So despite being a threat at this tower, if he doesn't waste his Herald right now and only tries to get this tower without the Herald, he's saving the Herald. That's a really good thing, because he can get more value from the Herald later on. And two, he's not necessarily communicating to the enemy team that, okay, come at me as fight. Like, at this point, if the enemy team comes, he can always look to leave this tower. If he looks to Herald this tower, then he has no way back. He either keeps pushing or he wastes the Herald by not getting as much value as he could have got from the Herald. Like, as you could see, okay, they got the top tower, they got the inhib tower, and they got the Nexus tower as well with the Herald. So it's super strong, and you want to utilize it whenever. I'm not saying wait for the perfect moment to Herald. Like, as you can see, like, imagine if in this case he would have Herald mid, Herald would be still alive, and if he stays here, then Corki and Nautilus already comes and will try to collapse on him. So now he would be forced to leave the Herald, and the Herald potentially wouldn't even hit the next tower. So that's another big of a value. That's like not great of a value. Sure, getting the wolves as well is fine just because Diana is dead. I will look to recall and pick my Darius back. Like, this tower eventually gonna fall. So this play pretty much only works as well. Like, this is not a consistent play. What I said that, okay, let's recall after the Herald, or let's recall after killing Diana and getting this tower. That's more consistent than staying on the map for this long and trying to get a Corki. Like, Corki just overstayed. Nautilus should have been here with Corki, and Corki should never die here. But this is solo queue, and this is just a coin flip play, which ends up working. But it's definitely not consistent. Like, this tower would fail anyway, like would fall anyway, and because of that, there's no reason for you to actually force it. So we end up recalling, right? And from the base, when our war team is in position to use Herald and to push further, we're gonna end up using the Herald. And that's like the perfect time. Whenever your team is in position to push with you, you know that, okay, they spend their gold, they recalled, and now you can actually look to fight because your team is in position to fight, you are in position to fight, you spend your gold, and you can push the towers further. So you want to look for these scenarios. You always want to look to get as many towers as possible with your Herald play, and you want to use it whenever your team is in position to use the Herald. To get as much value from it as possible. Getting one tower, one full tower with the Herald is totally fine as well. But if you don't have to, if you would get the tower anyway, then definitely don't use the Herald on it. Or if you would force the ball enemy team to come at you and you haven't spent your gold, just like with everything else, just like how you want to contest the dragon, void grabs, any objective on the map, whenever you are in a good position, you spend your gold, you are stronger than the enemy team, you have an advantage, etc. That's the same concept which you should apply whenever you're using the Herald as well in your games. So that's it, guys. I hope you found it helpful. If you did, then smash the like button, smash the subscribe button as well, and see you all in my next video. Bye bye.